Hi there, Andre here from Peak Motorcycles. This video is my introduction to EICMA 2023. If you're not familiar with EICMA, it is a massive motorcycle show that is held every year in Milan, Italy, and it's a place where manufacturers come to showcase their models for the coming year. Now, there's been a lot in the media lately around new models that are coming out, things like the new BMW R1300 GS. However, BMW won't be there. I was also interested in the new Harley-Davidson small displacement models, the X350 and the X500. However, Harley-Davidson also won't be there, so both of those videos are going to have to wait for another show. A few manufacturers are back who haven't been at EICMA for the last few years during COVID, and that includes the Pier Mobility Group, which includes KTM, Husqvarna and GasGas. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they have on show, in particular the new KTM 250 Adventure and also the Husqvarna Norden 901 Expedition. Royal Enfield will be there, and it will be my first opportunity to have a good close-up look at the new Himalayan 452, also the new, well, relatively new Bullet 350, and who knows, maybe they'll have another announcement while I'm there. They have a press conference at 9 AM on the first day, so who knows, maybe we'll finally see the much discussed 650 Scrambler. I think we're pretty much agreed that there isn't going to be a 650 Himalayan, but there have been some spy shots out there of a Scrambler variant on the 650 Twin. I'm particularly looking forward to visiting Kove. I have a Kove 450 rally myself, but I'm very interested in their 800X and Super Expedition, which is their middleweight adventure bike. I think it makes around 95 horsepower, weighs 182 kilos, something like that. So, you compare that with something which is maybe leading the way. I guess everyone's got an opinion. Something like the Tenere 700, which is just over 200 kilos, and I think that makes around 70-ish horsepower. I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong. So, really interesting bike. Very interested to see what else that Kove have on display, particularly if there's any changes to the 450 that I already have for 2024. Triumph will be there. I haven't had a good chance to look at their 400X Scrambler yet. This is their new small displacement model. I think that's going to be sold in India perhaps. And it's nice to see that they're coming into that market, because I think there is an increased interest in small displacement bikes, and that 400 to 500cc market seems to be really popular, and there's a lot of bikes in that segment this year. The Piaggio group have a stand there which will include Moto Guzzi. So they'll have the new Moto Guzzi V100 Stelvio. So this is their adventure bike based around the V100 Mondeo potato platform that they showed last year. Seen a bit of information about it. I understand it won't have electronic suspension, doesn't have the active aero, but honestly on an adventure bike you can certainly do without the aero. Active suspension, if it's got good quality components, I don't suppose that matters too much. But yeah, really interested to see it. I've really got a soft spot for Moto Guzzis, so looking forward to seeing that up close. It being Italy, Ducati will be there of course. Lots of new things that have come out. A lot of them have been tweaks to the existing models, like the V4 Multistrada. One bike I am really looking forward to seeing is the new Hypermotard 698 Mono. So this is based around this new single-cylinder engine. It's basically half a Panigale 1299. They look absolutely brilliant. I think they're about £11,000 here in the UK, so kind of expensive for a toy, but nevertheless, it's certainly a bike that I'm very interested in. MV Agusta normally have something exciting to look at, whether it be their sort of hyper nakeds and also the two concept bikes they showed last time, which were their, I think there was a 750 and a 950 adventure bike. So I think the final production versions are ready, so I'm looking forward to seeing the Lucky Explorer 9.5 on their stand. It'll be also interesting to see in what direction MV Agusta go. They recently signed a 25% deal with KTM, where KTM have taken over a 25% stake. So if KTM start offering sort of parts and servicing through their network of dealers, then I think that's certainly going to open up the appeal to a lot more people. If you've been following the channel for a while, you know that I've also had quite a keen interest in the reborn Moto Morini. So they had their X-Cape 650 and 650X, which have been out for a while, based around a Kawasaki engine. I think it's the one from an ER6, something like that. Anyway, really interesting bikes, really keenly priced, really well put together. They look good as well. They've had a couple of teaser slides up on their social media channels. So one of them that's coming is a 750 Corsaro, which I think is based around the naked bike that they've had previously. So looking forward to seeing what that looks like. They've also got a couple of bikes built around a 1200 platform. So there's going to be an X-Cape 1200 and also I think a Milano 1200. Now the old Milano I absolutely loved. I mean, it was a ridiculous thing. It was this big V-twin muscle bike, looked the absolute business. I think if I could have got one, I would have been sorely tempted to have one of those in my garage. But anyway, interested to see what the new offering looks like. CFMoto seem to be one of the Chinese manufacturers who are doing some really interesting stuff at the moment. So for those of you that follow the news, you might know that they've got a partnership deal with KTM, and they're actually producing the KTM 790 Adventure for the global market. I think they're also producing the engines for the 890s wherever you buy the bike and whichever platform. So last year they had their own version of the 790, I think it was an 800cc adventure bike, which looked really good, looked really well put together. They've had a few spy shots out of a new twin-cylinder 450 adventure bike. So I was saying, I think the 400 to 500 sector is really going to go somewhere this year. So that looks really interesting, especially when there's things like the Himalayan 452 and the Kove 450, like the one behind me, out there, really giving some choice in that segment. Even though it's not really my sort of thing, small capacity sports bikes seem to be making a bit of a return. Now I know super sports have just been getting bigger and faster. There's that many 200 horsepower plus bikes out there now. Unless you're on a track, I really don't know where you can actually stretch the legs of those bikes. I've tried a few bikes that are that sort of power. I loved the Triumph 1200 RR. Don't know where I'd ride it. Most of the roads around here have a 50-mile-an-hour limit. Occasionally there's a 60, but when it'll do 60 in first, you really are limited as to how long you can keep your license for. That said, KTM have had their 390 sports bike out for a while, but there's quite a few new ones coming through. So Kove have a 450 sports bike. It's not got the 450 single from the rally bike. It's actually got a 4-cylinder inline 450. I don't know if that'll meet the emission standards for Europe, but if it does, that would be an absolute scream to ride. Aprilia have their RS457, which has been on their website for a while but hasn't had any other information about it, so looking forward to taking a look at that. CFMoto have had their 450 SR for a while, and I think they might have a 500 coming out. So again, not really a bike I'd paid a lot of attention to in the past, but certainly something that I think is worth a look now. That's a few of the bikes that I'm really interested in seeing. I think altogether I've got a list of about 37 to 40, something like that, stands that I'm going to try and get around in the 2 days that I have for filming. If there are any other brands or anything else that you would like me to take a look at, please add it in the comments and I will do what I can. Bearing in mind it's going to be Tuesday and Wednesday that I'm filming, so if you ask for something on Wednesday evening or on Thursday, it's going to be too late and it's going to have to wait for one of the other shows. There will be a few press conferences there, so I'll try to get to as many of those as I can, and if you follow the Peak Motorcycles Instagram, I'll post any breaking news. Is that a thing? I'll certainly post that up on the Instagram as I hear things. So to give you a quick summary, so this is on Tuesday morning and all times are European times. 9 AM on Tuesday is Royal Enfield, 9:45 will be MV Agusta, 12:15 is Moto Morini, 1:30 is Kove, 2 PM is CFMoto, and 5 PM will be Ducati. And then on the Wednesday at 11 AM, there is a press conference at the Voge stand. So I'll try and cover those as well as producing the videos from everywhere else. I know it's going to be a crazy couple of days, it always is. I know I'm not going to sleep very much for the next week. So if I'm looking a bit bleary-eyed as time goes on, you'll know exactly why. Anyway, I hope that's been interesting and useful. Let me know if there's anything you'd like me to check out at EICMA. And thank you for watching. There will be an onslaught of videos coming in the next few days.